Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Melissa, and I oversee customer success here at ReadyRosie. We're thankful that you're joining us this morning to learn more about implementing ReadyRosie with success, specifically as we're facing distance learning, which is a new territory for all of us as educators. So thank you for joining us this morning. Couple of housekeeping items. First of all, please use the question area for Q&A. I'll be pausing occasionally to read the questions, answer them the best I can as we go. Second thing, I know many of you ask about certificates. There will be one that will be emailed to you. It'll come from Teaching Strategies. We are a product under the Teaching Strategies family. So you will receive a certificate. It'll come to you within 24 hours after the webinar. Please check your spam or junk folder. Sometimes it goes there. It's actually going to be a link that you click on to download your certificate. So no need to reach out and ask us for it. An email will be sent tomorrow with an opportunity to download the certificate. And again, it's going to come from Teaching Strategies, and you might check your spam folder. Little outline about what we're going to be going over this morning. We're going to start with a little overview of what is ReadyRosie. There are some people on the phone that are new to ReadyRosie, and there's some people that are seasoned users of ReadyRosie and just want a refresher on how to use it with distance learning. So we'll start with a brief overview. Then we'll go into how to sign in. I know that that's a big question for a lot of you, especially those of you that maybe have forgotten your password. We'll go over that. We're going to talk about how to invite your families and get them connected to ReadyRosie, how to resend those invitations to families because often they don't accept it first time around, so we need to resend them. We'll talk about how you can create custom playlists and send those so that you're choosing content from our library to send to families as opposed to just what ReadyRosie is sending out. We'll even talk about how you, to save you time, can use playlists that ReadyRosie has already created. And we'll talk about how to read your data because all of the videos that your families watch and respond to, we're collecting data on that, and that helps become part of that data story for those families. So we'll pause briefly in between each of these sections and allow time for questions in the question box. So please type them there if you have them. I also wanted to say that if you have attended one of my webinars last week or earlier this week, it's the exact same webinar. So you do not need to attend again. I know some people think that they're unique each day. They're not. We're just doing the same thing each day to give as many teachers an opportunity as possible to learn more about ReadyRosie and get them started. So let's start with signing in. We'll do that real quick. So let me open up another browser here. When you go to ReadyRosie.com, at the top there is a sign in button. You're going to click the sign in button. When you do that, it's going to prompt you to enter your email or cell phone number. Now, as teachers, you were registered by your email. It's typically the email that you're using for work. Then you're going to put in your password. Now, the very first time you log in, you can use any password you want. But once you've logged in with that password, that becomes your password. Now, that's not working for you, a couple of things could be going wrong. One, we may have been given your wrong email address from your administrator. Sometimes there's typos and we can correct that. You can email support@ReadyRosie.com. However, I really encourage you to try this link here that says forgot your login info. When you click that, it's going to give you an email. So it's going to ask you to enter your email. And then you're going to click send link. And when you do that, when you go to your email, there's going to be an email sent to you from info@ReadyRosie. And I have one right down here. And it says something like, someone, hopefully you, requested we send you a link to change your password. You actually click on this link. So you click on that link. So a lot of people reply and say, yes, I requested it. Actually, click on the blue link and it'll go take you through the steps. So that's how to get signed in and reset that password. Of course, if you're still having issues, you can always reach out to us at support@ReadyRosie.com, but we do encourage you to try to reset it yourself. Now, let's talk about what ReadyRosie is. So to start with, for those of you that are new, ReadyRosie is a parent engagement resource. For those of you that are with Head Starts, we also qualify as a parenting curriculum. We are a research-based program. We are what we call a combined approach to reaching families. And we'll start with the heart of ReadyRosie, and that's called our modeled moment videos. So we have short videos. All of them, by the way, are in English and in Spanish. So every video that is modeled in English is also modeled with a native Spanish-speaking family. A family chooses their language preference at registration. So if they choose Spanish, all videos delivered to them and the surrounding text will be in Spanish. Now, in addition to that, we do have some other languages inside the closed captioning feature. So currently, we have, of course, English subtitles and Spanish subtitles for those hearing impaired families. But we also have Somalian, Vietnamese, Arabic, and Dari. We have those particular languages based on partners of ours, customers of ours that have helped pay for those translations. So that's why we currently have those translations available. If a family wants, let's say, Arabic subtitles, they would choose that in the closed caption. And then when they watch their video, you're going to see the Arabic subtitles at the bottom. So let's start by watching a pre-K video called Pantry Talk. And I put on the subtitles just so you can get an idea of how it works.
Okay, little buddy. Well, I love the dishwasher. I want you to play a game with me, okay? We're going to play a game where we describe items out of our pantry, okay? So look, I have 4 items here out of the pantry. I have peanut butter.
I'm going to turn the closed caption off for the remainder of the video.
It's brown, it's smooth, and it's in a jar. I have quinoa. It's hard and crunchy right now, but when you cook it, it gets soft. There's like hundreds of little pieces of quinoa in this green box. And then I have tomatoes. They are in a metal can, and they are red and soft, and there's juice inside that metal can. And then I have some bread. The bread comes in slices, and it's soft, and it's yummy to eat, and it's kind of like white, okay? So listen, we're gonna play a game. I'm going to describe an object to you, and you need to guess what it is. So you're gonna close your eyes. I'm going to describe it, and you guess. Are you ready? Okay. Close your eyes. Okay. There are hundreds of little pieces of this in a green box. They are crunchy, but after I cook them, they are soft. What am I describing?
Quinoa.
That's right, quinoa. Okay, you want to do it? Okay, I'm gonna close my eyes, and you describe one of these objects to me. Okay?
Smooth and in the pantry. It's soft and smooth.
Okay, it's soft and smooth and out of the pantry. Is that peanut butter? Yes. You want another one?
And it's soft in the box. Well, I kept it in the box. What do you think it is?
Oh, I think it's quinoa.
What? Sweet potato. Potato is soft and what I cooked, and it was in the can.
Oh, it's soft and in a can? Are those tomatoes? Okay, great job, Jaden. You did a good job describing things.
What is
Hold on,
soft?
when you were younger, you described things by their size and color, but today you use words like metal, can, and in a jar, and smooth. Great job. All done.
So that's an example of a model moment video. Hopefully it showed okay. I was looking at it on the share screen model. It was lagging a little bit. Apologize for that. I think that everyone working from a distance is causing some pulls on the website and the internet. So that's an example of a modeled moment video. As I mentioned, every video that's in English is also in Spanish. So if a parent chose to receive their videos in Spanish, they'd receive that exact video, but with a native Spanish-speaking family. Now, anytime a parent watches a ReadyRosie video, they have an opportunity to respond to it. So for example, they can let their teacher know, was it helpful, thumbs up or thumbs down? They can add the video to their favorites. They can check the box to let you know they did the activity. Then they can share with you how the activity went. This is an opportunity for them to comment on the video. Sometimes they ask questions. Sometimes they just let you know how the activity went. And when they do that, you'll get a notification up here in the envelope, and you're able to respond back. So for example, sometimes they ask questions like, this was tough for her, she's struggling at paying attention, any suggestions? And I can post a comment back right up here in the message center. Or sometimes they're just telling me this was fun, she enjoyed playing it. So sometimes they're just giving you some information, and sometimes they're asking questions. It's a good opportunity for you to, as an educator, to respond to them. Now, you will get an email notification when they comment on a video. However, in order to respond to the video, you will need to come to your envelope up here at the top. Oftentimes we see teachers replying to the email that actually comes to us at ReadyRosie. It doesn't go to the parent. The email does tell you to click on a box to respond, to log in, but sometimes teachers miss that red box and they just reply to the email. So please click on the red box within the email to respond or log in and go to your message center, please. And then your family can communicate with you. And that only goes to that parent. Other parents in the classroom cannot see what you're saying to that parent. It's private between you and that family. Now, ReadyRosie delivers videos to families each week. Once they are connected to ReadyRosie, and we're going to talk about how you get them connected, it's an invitation process. Once they're connected, they will receive playlists of videos from ReadyRosie. Now, we have videos for everything from families with infants and toddlers up through 3rd grade. So it could be that your school or agency purchased just for pre-K, but your family still have access to the elementary videos in the library. However, we're only delivered to them what your school or agency purchased. So if they purchased pre-K, then this is what their playlist would look like for next week. It's all about spring cleaning. There's going to be 2 to 3 videos around pre-K and at least 1 infant and toddler video. And again, if they chose to receive their videos in Spanish, all of that text and videos would be in Spanish for them. If your district purchased elementary, then they'll receive this playlist in elementary. Notice that they're divided up by age group. So this one's good for all ages, this one for kinder through 1st, 2nd through 3rd, and so forth. That's what ReadyRosie sends out, and your families receive that by text or email each week. We deliver it on Monday. However, we're going to find out that the real power comes when you create your own playlist to send to families, because then it directly aligns to what you're teaching that week. And with distance learning, you can target specific videos that you want to share with families for games for them to play to match that unit of study. So we're going to be going over that in just a minute, but I want to continue talking to you about what is ReadyRosie. So modeled moment videos, English and Spanish, delivered to your families through text or email so they can play short games with their child to support the learning at school. But we have more than that. When you go over to the resources tab, We also have additional resources. So starting with family workshops. So I know that we've got many on the webinar here that are Head Start partners. Of course, in traditional times, you're hosting parent meetings. Typically that family service worker or advocate is hosting monthly parent meetings where parents are coming in for some type of training. So we have 8 workshops, everything from positive routines and discipline strategies to literacy rich home, math rich environment, families as leaders, even workshops around ready for kindergarten, for that transition to kindergarten. All of these workshops at the top are an hour in length, and everything you would need to facilitate that workshop is there. We've got the PowerPoint for you to download, again in English and Spanish. We've got the facilitator guide for you to download and print to follow along. And everything you need is in that facilitator guide. So we provide for you a picture of what the PowerPoint slide looks like that's going along. We tell you what activity to play, what questions to ask, what summary points to make. So it's very easy to follow as a facilitator. But there's more. We also provide flyers for you to edit to advertise your event and any handouts you might need. Now with distance learning, how can this be used? Well, we've heard from some Head Start partners that they are using the workshops via a Zoom meeting. So for example, there's a particular Head Start partner that shared with us that they're still hosting workshops, but they're doing it by Zoom. So parents are logging in or go to webinar, they're logging in, and the facilitator is able to share their screen and still do the workshops with families, but from a distance. Now, I mentioned the ones on top are an hour in length. The ones on the bottom are 10 minutes. So if you don't have a full hour with families, you only have 10 minutes, there's still workshops you can use. Even if you're not a Head Start agency, maybe you're with an elementary or a school district, perhaps you want to facilitate a workshop before a PTA meeting or a school program. Wherever you might find a good time to host a workshop and facilitate that, it's available to you. So next, back to the resources, we have some additional ways to support families. So the modeled moment videos delivered to them, you having the opportunity to send specific videos to your families to meet their needs. Family workshops for you to facilitate, whether it be from a distance or in person when school's back in session. But we also have additional tools and resources. So for example, again, this would be more along the lines of when school's back in session, but we've got parent teacher conference materials down here for you to check out. Family events. Now, if you're hosting, let's say, a literacy night or a math night, again, when school's back in session, I'm a former educator. I know I spent many hours creating games, math games specifically, because I was a math educator, for families to take home with them. Well, ReadyRosie's done the work for you. We already have the games created in video format, and the materials that families need to play those games are easy to find. So why not show a ReadyRosie video at your family event, have some stations set up, show a video, have these easy to find materials at the station, and your families can watch the ReadyRosie video and play the game. Here's another idea for distance learning. You can play some of these games with your families from a distance, even with your students or your children that you're servicing. So perhaps you're doing some meetings with them, whether it be by phone or by a webinar. You can play some of these games. It can be some from this list, or you can search the full library of videos. So we encourage you to still play some games with your students and your families, even from a distance. So they understand what ReadyRosie is, they see how easy it is to play the games, and it'll excite them about doing it with their own child. So I've just paused for a minute, and I see some people that say they can't hear. Can someone put in the chat if you are able to hear? I hear like 3 people that say they can't hear. I'm wondering if maybe their computer is muted, but if anyone else can put in the chat, if you're able to hear me, please put it in the chat. Okay, thank you. Just making sure. It made me a little nervous that people can't hear. Okay, I'll get back to the other questions that some people were asking. It just made me a little nervous that people couldn't hear. So thank you. Great. So that's a little bit about what ReadyRosie is. Now let's talk about how you get your families connected. So we'll start with there on the left-hand side. I do want to point out a new feature we have, and it says getting started. So this is especially great for new teachers, but even for my seasoned teachers, you might check this out. On the left-hand side, everything I'm about to go over is included in this getting started tab. So should you forget what I said this morning, rest assured you're able to go back and check that later. So starting with, there's a quick start guide. So if you're the type of person that likes to print something off and have it at your computer with step-by-step instructions, this is for you. I personally am that type of person. So everything I'm about to talk to you about is written out here with screenshots, with step-by-step instructions. So that's the first thing you see. But then there are some short video tutorials, so little 1-minute videos going through each of the steps that I'm about to speak with you about. Also, flyers and other ways to spread the word about ReadyRosie to your families is included here. So let's start with inviting your families. Now, in order to invite your families to join, you will need to have teacher access. You know you have teacher access if on the left-hand side, you see the word classrooms listed. Now, if you're an administrator that has administrator access and teacher access, you'll want to click on your name as an administrator and choose teacher from the drop-down. If you do not have the option to choose teacher from the drop-down, and if you do not see the word classroom when you log in, you don't have teacher access, and ReadyRosie will need to provide that to you. And you can email support@readyrosie.com and let them know you need teacher access. Now, teacher access is available for school districts and Head Start agencies that have purchased ReadyRosie subscription for their families. So make sure, check with your administrator that your school district or Head Start, in fact, does have a subscription. Okay, let's start with inviting families. I'm going to click Classrooms on the left-hand side. I'm going to start by giving my class a name. So maybe it's Mrs. Horton's kindergarten class. And then I'm going to choose the grade level, kindergarten. Now, this in no way limits the library. So even though I'm choosing kindergarten, my family still have access to the full video library. So if I have a 3rd grader and I want to find a 3rd grade video, I can still do that in the library. Give your classroom a color if you wish and create classroom. Now, if you're a family service worker or an administrator who is creating several classrooms, that's fine. You can do that. You can create more than one classroom. Once you create your classroom, you have a few options. One option is you can share this classroom or assign it to another teacher. So again, if I'm a family service worker and I'm creating 3 or 4 classrooms based on my caseload, but I want to assign another teacher to share it with, I can do that from the drop-down. I just choose their name and click Submit. And then we'll share the classroom. So now Patricia and Dennis are sharing this classroom. To invite families, I press the button that says Invite Families. Then I enter the student's first name and last name. School ID is optional. Then the parent or caregiver's email address and or their cell phone number. You do not need both. However, you do need at least one.
Sorry.
Please make sure it's their cell phone number and not their home phone number. That's a landline, because of course they're not able to accept an invitation from a landline. We are going to be emailing and or texting the invitation to them, so we'll need either email and or cell phone number. Once you've rostered out your classroom, you come down here and you click Invite Now, or you can schedule the invitation to go out later. Now, why might you want to schedule it to go out later? Well, you want to have an opportunity to tell your families what ReadyRosie is. So if you have not told your families that they're going to be receiving an invitation from you to join ReadyRosie, and they get it by text or email, and they've never heard of it, they're probably going to delete it thinking that it's junk or spam. So we do encourage you to tell them about it first. Now, there's two places you can find getting the word out to families. One is in that resources tab, but my favorite is this new Getting Started tab, because right below those short tutorial videos are some flyers that you can share with families. I like the one that says Invite Flyer. It's in red right here. I click on it. And then I use the second one here that says Registration Flyer. Notice the flyer is in English and Spanish as well. Click on it. And here I'm able to see what ReadyRosie is as a parent. I learned from the flyer that after I accept the invitation, each week I'm going to get videos that I watch. Then I do the activity with my child. Then I share my experience with my teacher. So watch, do, share. On the back, it shows the parent how to accept the invitation. It says, keep an eye out. You're going to get a text or email inviting you to join ReadyRosie. Click on the link. Then it shows them how to accept the invitation. First, they'll choose, do they want their content in English or Spanish? Second, they'll enter their own first and last name as a parent or caregiver. Then they'll let ReadyRosie know how they want to receive their videos by text or email. They'll create their own password. Then once they click register, it takes them to a welcome video explaining to them what ReadyRosie is. So those are the steps that a parent goes through to register for ReadyRosie. And that's how you invite families to join. Now, I'm going to go back to classrooms, because as you can imagine, sometimes parents accept the invitation right away, and sometimes I need to resend those invitations. So I'm going to go to a classroom that I already have created here. I'm going to click on Manage Classroom. So now that the classroom's created, it's automatically going to log me into the student data page. So now once it's created, I have to click Manage Classroom. And here I can invite more families if I need to. If a few additional families came along, I can invite them here. I can also resend pending invitations. So when I click that, I can resend all of them at once by clicking Resend Selected. Now, if a parent says, I'm not getting the invitation, I might want to double check to make sure I have their correct email address and or cell phone number. So for example, Susie might tell me, oh, you have my email wrong. It's sjj@rrr.com. I can edit it and resend. If everything's correct though, I can resend all selected by clicking this button at the top. I'm going to pause for a minute and see if there are any additional questions about inviting families and resending pending invitations. After this, we'll move on to creating custom playlists. Okay, let's see. Can I explain again on how to get to the workshops? Sure. So Shirley, the way I got to the workshops was I clicked on resources and I came down to family workshops and give me tens, and they were right here. Okay, let's see. Teresa, family events for infants and toddlers. That's an excellent question, Teresa. Let me get back with you on that. Someone asked that the other day, and I did not realize that on that family event, it didn't have anything for infants and toddlers. It only had pre-K and up. So excellent question, Teresa. Let me get back to you on that. In fact, Teresa, I'm going to type you. Can you email this question to info@ReadyRosie.com, and then I can get back to you on that. Okay, code. Let's talk about that. It says, I still have 3 parents who have accepted invite but cannot download because it requests a code. Okay, so what's happening there is chances are they are downloading the mobile app, which is great. We do have a mobile app. However, in order to download, after you download the mobile app, there's a couple of options. One option says to sign in. So after they've accepted the invitation, if they're downloading the mobile app, they need to sign in, not register. The other button says register. When you register, it's asking for a code, assuming your school district or Head Start is using code registration. Very, very few people are using code registration. So if you sent an invitation to them, they've accepted the invite, when they download the mobile app, which is not required, by the way, but some parents prefer the mobile app, they need to sign in using their username and password, not register. That's where the confusion gets with code, and I apologize for that confusion. Do you ever offer this training in Spanish? Good question, Sherry. We were just talking about that this morning with our staff about providing some type of webinar in training in Spanish. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully we'll be releasing that soon. How to deactivate families and not delete data. That's a really good question, Melissa. Okay, so when you go to your classroom, you can remove students from your classroom, but don't without deleting them. So right here, I can remove them. That, to my knowledge, does not delete the data, but I'm not 100% sure. That's a great question. My understanding is, though, that you can remove them and they just were no longer connected to your classroom. Now, if you delete the entire class, that's where the problem might be with the data. You don't want to do that. But if you just remove them, it's not deleting the data. So if you need to remove a student, you just go to Manage Classroom and click Remove. What you should not do, though, is delete an entire class that has class data associated with it, because that would delete their data. If, let's say, you're a teacher left and you're taking the place of that teacher, you would want us to transfer that classroom to you as opposed to that teacher deleting the class. Oh, can I send the invite or registration flyer in text? Thank you for asking that, Kayla. I forgot to mention that. So going back over to that, that flyer, what you'll want to do is you're able to send that URL. So each flyer, I'll go to the English flyer, there's a URL up here at the top. It's kind of long, but you can copy and paste this URL at the top and send it to them digitally in a text message or in a digital newsletter or on social media, however you're communicating with your families digitally. Yes, thank you for asking that. That's an important part about distance learning. Okay, Marie, I'm not sure what I might need some more clarification, Marie Trapkin, about I haven't and it's still not working. So if you could give me a little more information on that, I'm going to go ahead and move on to creating custom playlist, and then we'll come back to that. Okay, so that's how you create classrooms and invite families. Now I'm going to go to the button right below it that says playlist. Now, as I mentioned, ReadyRosie sends playlist out on Monday. If you're curious as to what ReadyRosie is sending out, you can click on schedule over on the left-hand side and go to upcoming ReadyRosie playlist, and you're able to see what we're sending out that particular week. However, if you'd like to send your own playlist of videos to align what you're teaching during that unit of study, you can do that by clicking on playlist on the left-hand side and clicking create playlist. Now you'll want your playlist to have a couple of things. You'll want it to have a title, and you'll want your families to have some type of message so they know what the playlist is referring to. We give you suggestions, so notice for title, it says you may want to include the date or concepts you're studying this week. So I might call it, week of March 30th, rhyming. Then I'm going to give a brief message to my families. Dear families, try these rhyming games at home. I hope you enjoy them. Please comment on the videos and let me know how it goes. Now, this is a message box. You can actually put anything you want inside of this message box. So it could be anything else that you want to say regarding, it could be about ReadyRosie, it could be about work in, schoolwork in general. Whatever you want to say can be said in that message box. Then you're going to want to select who this is going to. Now, if I have multiple classrooms connected to me, I can send it to multiple classrooms. Before you click continue, there's a very important step up here. Notice right below step 1, it says families will receive videos in their preferred language. Click Espanol above to provide a translated message. So what does that mean? It means if a family selected Spanish at registration, the videos I'm about to select will come to them in Spanish. I don't have to worry about that. What I do need to do, though, is translate what I just wrote. Now, when ReadyRosie sends our playlist out, of course, that's already translated for you. We took care of that work for you, but we're not sure what your custom message is. So you're going to need to translate it. So when you click on the Espanol button right here, you're given that opportunity to translate it. Now, if you are a Spanish speaker, you can put that title and message in Spanish. However, if you're not like me, you can use Google Translate by clicking the Translate for Me button. Now, of course, that's not perfect. It's Google Translate, but for me, it's the best I'm able to do. Then click Continue. Now I'm ready to start choosing videos from the ReadyRosie library to send home to families. I have a couple of options on how I can do that. One, I might click Browse Standards, and I can search the standards for each state as well as the Head Start Early Learning Outcome Framework. So if I'm an elementary teacher, I'll choose my correlating state, alignment, PreK, same thing for infant and toddler. So let's say that I'm in California. I'm going to scroll down, find rhyming. When I find that, then I'm able to copy and paste that activity into the playlist. Now, this is not really a rhyming video, but let's say Taking Turns was a rhyming video. I could copy and paste it, or I could come over here and type in the word Taking Turns and click Return or enter on my computer. And there's the video called Taking Turns. I can click the plus sign to add it to my playlist. Now that one's not really about rhyming. I want to make mine about rhyming. So to do that, I'm probably going to start by filtering by age. So let's say it's a 4 to 5-year-old classroom. And I'm going to type the word rhyming in the box and click return or enter. And now it filters out videos for rhyming for 4 to 5-year-olds. If I find a video I think the parents will enjoy, I can watch it or preview it by clicking the eye icon. And I can watch it, see what it's about. Then I can click the plus sign to add it to my playlist. Now we recommend that you only send 2 to 3 videos in your custom playlist. We find that if you send more than that, it overwhelms families and they don't have time to watch them all and play the games with their children. So try to limit it to 2 to 3 in your custom playlist that you send each week. Once I've created that custom, one other thing, let's say another way I can filter that is by going to categories. So maybe I'm sending a math video on measurement. I can filter the video that way. We do have a full video library, everything from videos on health and well-being, language and literacy, math and reasoning, social and emotional learning, as well as research and answer videos. So there's multiple ways to find the video content that you want to send to families. By the way, parents are able to see this exact same video library. So even though we deliver videos to your families, they can filter their video library as well by category and by age group, even by location. Once I've given my playlist a title, a message, and selected videos, I'm ready to take action. This red box down here is the action box. I can save my playlist for later. I can send it right now. I can schedule it to go out later. So I could, in theory, schedule playlists for the next few weeks if I know what my units of study are. I can copy the link if I'd like to copy the URL into a Facebook page or a newsletter or send some other way with a URL, I can do that. However, in order for the family to watch that video or the videos in that custom playlist, they will need to be connected to your classroom. So if they get a hold of that link through a Facebook page that's private for your families and they have not accepted the invitation to join, they will not be able to watch the playlist. I can preview the playlist if I wish. I might do that real quick so you can see what that looks like. Now I'm logged in as a demo account with the teacher, Dennis Buckner. So it's going to say that this playlist is from their teacher. So it's going to tell them right from the beginning who this playlist is from. This is not just from the ReadyRosie team. This is from my teacher. It tells me what my the playlist is about and my videos. If they choose to receive it in Spanish, this is what it will look like. Same content, but notice those videos are auto-populated into Spanish. You don't have to worry about that. Another option that I want to show you is to print the playlist. Now, we hear sometimes that families have connectivity issues, and we're asked, is there a way for families to get a paper copy of this? The answer is yes. You can print your playlist. You can also print what ReadyRosie sends if you wish to. You can print our playlist. Now, with distance learning, I realize this again might be a little challenging if you're not seeing families, but if you're already giving those families some type of printed content, then you can send them this printed playlist. Maybe if they're picking up lunch for those families in need, maybe you can give them a packet with the printed playlist in it. Or you can download and print this. I'm sorry, you can download it and save it as an attachment. Notice it's just a printed version of what the playlist is about. So they just read the activity, then they're able to respond to it on paper. Of course, we're not collecting that data if it's on paper, but at least they're able to participate in the activities. So that's how you create your own custom playlist. However, I do want to let you know that ReadyRosie also has playlists that we created for you, specifically for distance learning. We know you're busy, and so maybe you want to use a playlist that we already made. So this last tab here, when you're in playlist, says Healthy at Home. You may be familiar with our free resource, Healthy at Home, but for our customers, we've created playlists for you to deliver to your families through the ReadyRosie platform so you can collect data. Notice that we've got playlists for each week, and we have it divided up by age group: infant, learning at home activities; toddler, PreK, first, second, third, kinder. And we've divided it up by the week. So each week we're adding playlists for you. Now it could be that you're interested in using, let's say, the first grade playlist from last week. Let's see what this playlist is about. This playlist is about the kitchen being a perfect place to learn in your classroom or at home. If I want to use it, I can say use this playlist. Then it opens up that playlist editor that we just saw, but now everything's already entered for you. All you have to enter is who's going to receive the playlist. And guess what? The Spanish is already taken care of for you as well. Now let's say you do want to use a playlist from last week because you just started and you really like this playlist. You can change the date. All of this can be edited. So I can change the date if I wish to. I'll just have to change the date over here in the Spanish as well. So you can use playlists that ReadyRosie has already created to save you some time. Then down here at the bottom, the same action box. Send it now, schedule it, preview it, print it, etc. So that's how you use custom playlists. Now, I do want to say there's a third way you can share content with families, and that is through what's called the share button. Now, to get to that, it's in a little different area. You actually go to the library of videos. When you're in the library of videos, let's say, for example, a parent emailed me or texted me and said, I'm having a hard time getting my child to listen to me while I'm trying to teach them at home. What can I do? I'm going to go to research and answer videos, and I'm going to go to behaviors. Right here, Dr. Becky Bailey from Conscious Discipline has a video on how can I get my child to listen to me. Click on that. And this is true of any video, okay? It's not just the research and answer videos. You can share any videos from the video library. But notice right next to that, there's a share button. So I can click that share button and I can decide which families do I want to share this with. Who was asking me about this? Maybe it was Chief and Tiffany's parents asking about this. I can give them a message. You asked about this the other day. Try this strategy. And then I can click share. And when I do that, it's only going to go to those two families. They do not know that they're both receiving it. It's still private. But I'm able to share just a single video with 1, 2, 3 families. So those are the 3 different ways you can share content with your families to specifically target their needs. So I'm going to pause for a minute and see if there's any questions. Okay, let's see. Melissa asked, can you add a link? Melissa, if you're referring to the message box when you're creating a custom playlist, yes, you can add a link if that's what you're referring to like a video outside of ReadyRosie. Typically, they're going to have to copy and paste that link, though. It's not. I don't think they're going to be able to click on it and it'll take them to YouTube. But they can. You can say something like, "Here's a link to a video on YouTube that's also helpful. copy and paste it to open it up. If a parent in Head Start has 2 children in the same center, does the family get 2 accounts, or are they able to only have one ReadyRosie account per family? Great question, Geraldine. The answer is they can have just 1 account. So what happens, assuming, let's say I have a Head Start and an early Head Start child, assuming that both teachers invite me to join ReadyRosie using the same email or same cell phone number, assuming it's the same when they invite me, I only have to accept the invitation once. From the first teacher I get it from, I accept the invitation. Then when the other teacher sends me an invitation, I'll automatically be pulled into that teacher's classroom. I will not have to create a new account and accept a second invitation. Great question. The important potty training question. Is ReadyRosie planning to add videos that help with potty training? I hope soon. We don't currently have any around potty training. We are currently not filming new content, but we hope to maybe this summer film some new content, and it will likely be a research and answer video, but stay tuned. We hope soon. So when submitting a playlist to the parents, can ReadyRosie be set to automatically send in 2 languages, or do I have to send 2 separate sets of the message? So Elizabeth, we send the videos to them in Spanish. So when you create a custom playlist, you do not, it automatically, if they've chosen Spanish as their language, they automatically get the videos from your custom playlist in Spanish. You don't have to worry about that. We take care of that for them. The only thing you'll need to do is translate what you wrote. So when you're in that editor mode, you'll need to translate what it is that you wrote here for your custom playlist. But you don't have to create 2 separate ones, no. And right here it explains families will receive videos in their preferred language. So you don't have to create an English one and Spanish one. When you send a playlist, does it send all videos at once, or is it 1 video a day for the week? So Kara, I'm not sure if you're talking about the ReadyRosie playlist, but we send 3 to 4 videos in 1 playlist. It comes on Monday. So it's not 1 a day, it's just 1 playlist that ReadyRosie sends out. And then whatever you create, Kara, you know, that's also whatever, it'll send them, it's a playlist, so it's all videos come at once. That's why we say to try to limit it to 2 to 3. Teresa says, I'm sending out videos, but they aren't replying back to me. What do I do? Great question, Teresa. I would honestly encourage them in that area. You might even say, you know, we're using this as part of distance learning. This is part of me helping keep track of what's taking place in the home. Please use the comment feature in the video so that I know, you know, what's happening at home. So I would probably just speak to the parents and encourage them in that way. If I print the playlist, is there a way to track the family outcome? No. So if you're printing the playlist, Jennifer, unfortunately, we don't know what's happening with that family. You're not able to track if they watch, you know, ReadyRosie doesn't track anything from the printed portion. We only track if it's digitally watched. What would you recommend for families with special needs? So Yolanda, that's a great question. We currently, let me just explain. I know that special needs is kind of a broad category. You know, there's lots of things in the special needs umbrella. So I would say the beautiful thing about ReadyRosie, especially when you're creating custom playlists, maybe it's a family with a 2nd grader, but you found a pre-K video or something that you think that family would be great for them to play. So you don't have to send them a 2nd grade video. You could look at the full video library to find what's best for their needs. Now, I will say that one thing we do have, and this is based on some work we've done in the Houston area with a large dyslexia grant in Texas, we have tagged our videos with the word dyslexia. So I realize this is just one portion of the special needs umbrella. But if a child is dyslexic, you can type in the word dyslexia and it pulls up videos that are good with strategies to use with a dyslexic child. Are we able to add our own videos to the playlist? Unfortunately, not at this time, Kat. Will this automatically be documented as communication in Child Plus? Jessica, we don't currently have any connection that goes directly into Child Plus. That would be something that you could download and import into Child Plus. I'll talk about how to import data in just a minute. I don't always see the option to send videos to individual families. So you'll need to be logged in as a teacher to do that, and you'll need to go to the library. Every video in the library should have the share button. So when you click on a share button, there is a button. I'm sorry, when you click on the library on the left-hand side, there is right below the video, there's a button that says share. So you'll need to be logged in as a teacher to see that. So if you have different levels of access, you're going to make sure you have teacher access in order to see the share button. Great question. Sharon asked, how do you prevent overloading families with multiple people sending playlists? Example, the family service worker, the teachers, the admin. Sharon, that's a great question, and that's something we don't want to happen. Couple of things. Number one, if your district or Head Start agency is consistently across the board sending out custom playlists, especially during distance learning, one thing we can do is we can turn off the ReadyRosie playlist. Your district administrator or Head Start administrator needs to contact us at ReadyRosie. They should know who their partner success manager is. Every district or Head Start has a partner success manager. That's their go-to person. So that's one thing I would recommend, is maybe turning off what we're sending. And then, Sharon, I would probably try to coordinate. I mean, you're right. You don't want family service workers and classroom teachers and the administrator all sending something to the families. I would probably try to coordinate with them, try to maybe choose one person that's going to be the person sending custom playlists, because you're right. If a family is getting multiple playlists each week from multiple people, chances are they are going to get overwhelmed, and that's the last thing we want. Are these webinars recorded? Yes, Melissa, they are. We can get you a recording of that. How will I know if a family chose to have the email sent to them in Spanish? I have a couple of families that are dual, however, they speak to me in English. Elizabeth, unfortunately, you're not able to see that. That's kind of a privacy thing, how they choose their videos to be delivered to them. I would just recommend go ahead and translate your playlist just in case, you know, if you're making a custom playlist in case they've chosen Spanish. Can you repeat the steps on how to share a video? Sure. So you go over to the library on the left-hand side. You can filter your library however you want. You can filter by age. So maybe I'm a 3rd grade teacher and I want to share a video around fractions. Once you find a video you want to share, you click on the video. So double the recipe looks like a good one for distance learning during quarantine. Click share. Type in the family or families. I just put my cursor in the box and my families that I'm connected to show up. Type a message and click share. Okay, I'm going to pause from the questions now and move over to how to read your data. We've got just a couple of minutes left, so I want to make sure I get through this part. So back over here to classrooms on the left-hand side as a classroom teacher, you have data associated with all the classrooms that you're connected to. So right here, I have the classrooms I've created. Down here, I have some that were shared with me or assigned to me. So Miss Salas shared her classroom with me. So I've got some data in there. So these are the families that are connected to ReadyRosie. I see they've watched videos. I can also see that there's some families that are not yet connected. Susie and Chief and Sarah are not yet connected. I can resend those invitations to make sure they get connected. But once I see families that are connected and they're watching videos, I can see things like how many videos have they watched? How many language and literacy and learning outcome opportunities? Math, social and emotional learning, health and well-being, family outcome opportunities. So I'm about to explain what all those are in just a minute, but I'm going to start by clicking on the child's name. So I'll click on Tiffany's name, and here I can see her parent is Sarah. If I want to add another parent to Tiffany, so if I want to add Tiffany's father, I can click add a caregiver, enter his email and or cell phone number, and then either schedule that to go out or invite him right now. I can see that there's been learning outcomes a lot around language and literacy and math. If I want to know more about that, I can open this up. Now, what is a learning outcome opportunity? Every video is tied to 2 to 3 learning outcome opportunities. For example, in the video Leapfrog Measure, they are estimating how far they can hop like a frog. They are jumping or hopping like a frog, and then they're measuring it. So there's some gross motor skills in there, there's some measurement skills in there. So there's at least 2 learning outcome opportunities in that one video. If you're ever curious as to what those learning outcomes are, you can always click on Library, look at the video, and it tells you what those learning outcomes are. So for Tiffany's family, I can open up each of these. I can open up math, I can open up social and emotional, I can open up health and well-being. So for example, around language and literacy, I see that they've had no experiences around phonological awareness. And maybe Tiffany could really benefit from some videos around phonological awareness. So maybe that's when I want to go over to my library, search phonological awareness, and send her family a video around that and say, hey, I think Tiffany could benefit from this. Now, family outcomes, that came straight from the Head Start Parent Family Community Engagement Framework. As you can imagine, all of our videos correlate with families as learners, families as lifelong educators, and positive parent-child relationships. If you would like to know a full alignment to the PFCE and ReadyRosie, you can go to Resources and go down to Alignments and Curriculum Maps. I'm going to do that right now because I just realized I forgot something very important. Down here, Resources, Alignments, and Curriculum Maps. I recognize we now have some new partners that are also teaching strategies partners. We do have the beginning of alignments to those intentional teaching experiences that you can find. So for example, if I'm working on memory games, I can send the video Clap and Count to my families. I can even click on that video and it takes me straight to it, and I can share it with my families. Apologize, I forgot to mention that. But that is an important piece for our new partners that are also teaching strategies partners. Back to classrooms on that data to finish out that story. I was looking at Tiffany. I just got through talking about those learning outcomes and family outcomes. But also now at the very bottom, I have a data story. I'm able to see the 20 most recent videos that Tiffany's family has watched. I can see when they watched it. I can see if they liked it or disliked it, if they checked the We Did It box, if they commented on the video. Remember, if they commented, I need to come up here to my envelope at the top. That's my message center to respond to the comment. The really nice thing about this report for each family is I can print it and put it in their portfolio to help it become part of that data story. One last thing about data, if you are sending custom playlists, you have an additional piece of data that I think is really helpful during distance learning. Come over to playlist, find the playlist that I sent out. So for example, when I sent out this playlist last week, I'm able to see the students on the left-hand side, the names of the videos I sent, and I can see if they watched it. And if they did respond to it or comment on it, I'll have some little check marks here in this box. Susie, I can see they didn't watch it at all, but I also happen to know Susie's not even connected to ReadyRosie yet. So this can be printed as well. This is the benefit of sending a custom playlist if you want to see specifically how are families engaging with the playlist that I created, or a playlist that ReadyRosie created and I used that playlist to send and customize it, such as those playlists in Healthy at Home. So that is how you can successfully use ReadyRosie during this time of distance learning. Just a reminder, this Getting Started is a really great place to start. Great, helpful tutorials. There's also a little FAQ/help that takes you to our Help Scout documents. If you forgot, for example, how to translate a playlist, I can type in translate, and there it is. How do I translate a custom playlist? It reminds me how to do that. So I can type something in there if I'd like. I'm going to see if there's any final questions, but if not, thank you for those that joined today. Again, give us 24 hours to get those certificates to you. Okay, let's see. Do you know if later there will be other languages? I have a family who speaks Burmese and another language. Great question. Currently, we don't have plans for any additional languages. Again, the ones that we do have are based on customers of ours that helped pay for those translations, which is always an option if your school district is interested in that option. But currently, that's all we have. We do, of course, hope in the future to add more. Burmese is one I hear often, by the way, so hopefully that'll be one. David asked, at the end of the school year, we need to delete the classrooms to be able to add more. Ooh, good question, David. No, you do not need to delete the classrooms. So let me explain that. What you'll want to do is your district or Head Start we put something called a school year in there. So let me actually log in as an administrator. I'll log in as me real quick. So the reason you don't want to delete your classroom, we archive those for you. So your administrator should have given us a date that your school year typically ends. And then what happens is we can archive those classrooms for you. Oh, let me find one that has an archived classroom. Let's see. Let me find someone that has archived. So the answer, good question, David, don't delete, we will archive them. So what it will look like up here, after we archive it, you'll have a new school year ready to start fresh and add a new classroom. And you'll be able to toggle back and forth from those previous years as well. Is there a list of those videos connected? A list of the videos connected to the outcomes. There is for the family outcomes, Melissa. Again, it's in the resources tab under alignments and curriculum maps. I don't think there's one for the learning outcomes, but I can ask. Are there ways for students to interact with each other? No, not at this time. There's not a way for families to interact with each other on the platform. How can we motivate our families to use ReadyRosie? Good question. Couple of things. One, with distance learning, I would probably really stress to them, like, hey, we're using this to communicate with you. We're using this to share activities for you to play with your family, with your child at home. The games are easy. I would say maybe try playing a game with them, whether it be right now in distance learning through a webinar or something, so they see how easy it is. Sometimes families think that, are kind of at first thinking, oh, this is something that would do with learning. I can't do this. It's too hard. I'm not a teacher. But when they see how simple the games are, it does make a big difference. I think another thing that you might consider is in the resources tab, we do have some certificates to celebrate their success. It's right here. They're free certificates you can download. You can edit, put the parent information. Parents love being recognized. They love being celebrated, especially when school's back in session, if you're able to do that in a public way so that everybody sees, you know, how great the other families are doing that are using it. Is there closed captioning in multiple videos? So the closed captioning, yes, is in all the videos. So again, that was in the library. Each video has closed caption. You just click the CC. Can I use ReadyRosie as a teacher if my district has not yet purchased it? Unfortunately, you cannot. However, Adriana, we're happy if you want to recommend ReadyRosie to your administrator. We're happy to get in contact with them and do a little demo for them to consider purchasing. Okay, well, great. Thank you everyone for your time. I'm sorry that we went over a few minutes. I apologize for that, but I hope you have a wonderful week and a wonderful day. Thank you for all you're doing. We recognize the hard work you're putting in as educators during distance learning. We appreciate you. We support you. We're here for you. So thank you again for joining us, and we hope that you found it helpful. Have a great week.